Coming up in this episode of Rebel Report, UNLV Football is on a 2-game win streak.
Plus, the Golden Knights have finally got their groove back.
And the Runnin Rebels start the season 3-0.
Welcome to Studio B on the campus of UNLV. This is the Rebel Report. I'm Brandon Steele.
And I'm Jarrett Thompson. Before we dive into the local sports news of the week, we want to tell you what we're all about and what we hope to give you watching at home.
Every week for a half an hour, we will cover UNLV athletics, the games, the events, the athletes, and the coaches.
But we're also here to cover all of the major sporting events happening in Southern Nevada and tell stories you won't see anywhere else. Let's begin with our top story.
UNLV Football has won its first football game of the season, and it's their first win under head coach Marcus Arroyo. The Rebels took on the New Mexico Lobos in a 31-17 victory for the Scarlet and Gray. Rebels senior running back Charles Williams ran for 74 yards and 2 scores, setting the new program career rushing record. Freshman quarterback Cameron Friel threw an effective 227 passing yards along with 2 touchdowns to secure a Rebels win. After his performance against the Lobos, Friel was named the Mountain West Freshman of the Week. That's not all in store for the Rebels as they hosted Hawaii in Allegiant Stadium this past Saturday.
The Rebels took on Hawaii Rainbow Warriors in the 9th Island Showdown for the Golden Pineapple Trophy as they look for their first home game win of the season.
The Golden Pineapple along with their first home game win of the season. Williams rushed for a career-high 266 yards, logging in 3 touchdowns against the Rainbow Warriors. On the other side of the field, the Rebels' defense kept the Rainbow Warriors in check, keeping Hawaii to a total of 9 first downs, forced 2 interceptions, and allowed only a pair of field goals after Hawaii's opening score. The Rebels outrushed the Rainbow Warriors 293 yards to 57 for a 27-13 score victory. We go to Coach Arroyo on the win and where the team is at.
It was fantastic, obviously fantastic to stack another win. I mean, that's the thing I talked about last week with these guys was good teams stack wins. You continuously go and you stack good games, right? And I think we've stacked some good games this season. They haven't come out our way, but the consistency, the resiliency, the toughness, the way they work, the way they show up on Sunday to squat, the way that Coach File and the weight room's got them going, and they're, all from nutrition to everything, and the way we're at in week 11 to play consistent football and to battle. It just says a lot about our group, man. It says a lot, and I'm excited about the work going forward, excited about this week, but more than I'm excited about tonight and letting these guys celebrate that safely and letting the program safely celebrate it. It's awesome to be at home in Allegiant to get that pineapple, get the pineapple to the defense, get the game ball to the auto line. Man, I hope they enjoy the heck out of it because they deserve it. They work their tail off. Rebel Nation deserves it. This is a great home place. We got a bunch of recruits in town, so shoot, man, I'm fired up.
The Rebels are back in action for their last home game of the season against San Diego State on November 19th at 8:30 p.m.
The Las Vegas Raiders hosted the Kansas City Chiefs in an AFC West battle on Sunday night. The winner would walk away with a lead in the division heading into Week 11. With 12:20 to go in the third, 1st and 10, Derek Carr found Brian Edwards for a 37-yard touchdown. The score was 17-14 Kansas City. With 7:15 left in the third, on a 4th and goal, Patrick Mahomes fires into the end zone for Noah Gray for a 1-yard touchdown to bring the lead back to 10, 24-14. 20 seconds left in the third. Derek Carr fires deep but is picked off by Daniel Sorensen. 3rd and 11, Patrick Mahomes has a pass to Darrell Williams for the 38-yard touchdown, making it 34-14 Chiefs. An incredible play by Patrick Mahomes. On a 4th and 2, Patrick Mahomes to Brian Pringle for the 22-yard touchdown. The Chiefs get the win over the Raiders. 41-14 is the final. Here's what Derek Carr had to say after the game.
I think we're just a better team, honestly. We got better players, Now, that doesn't result in wins. I've been on teams that are really talented that underperformed, I just really believe in our group. It's a close group. You know, football, you got to be tight. You got to do it together. The things that we messed up today, I mean, it's so correctable. You know, I think that's what gives me, you know, like, oh yeah, we could do it. It wasn't like we just got outmanned. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to describe it that way. You know, I really believe that, you know, that this group is just different. It's just being around them. I'm around them every day. It's just a different group.
Las Vegas has now dropped back-to-back games. They move to a 5-4 record on the season as they prepare for another team who is also on a 2-game losing streak, the Joe Burrow-led Cincinnati Bengals, who will come into Las Vegas for a Week 11 matchup on Sunday at 1 o'clock.
The men's basketball team faced off against Gardner-Webb at Thomas & Mack. We go to Christian for that coverage.
The Runnin Rebels had their first home game of the season against Gardner-Webb. The Thomas & Mack Center was finally opened and filled with the smiling faces of the fans. The new head coach, Kevin Kruger, stepped on the floor with a game plan that would lead the Rebels to their first win. Coach Kruger shared how proud he was of Royce's performance.
Roy Sam he's just probably pretty good to know if you're out there that he's back there protecting the rim for you, but he played that way because he practices that way. That was our main point. In the locker room afterwards was just how happy we were for Royce because he deserves it. I think you all know him. He's a home run of a human, so it was great to see him have this little bit of success early on.
Royce did have an amazing performance on both sides of the floor. He was blocking shots and making sure his teammates were feeling confident as the game continued. Royce was getting multiple looks in the post and converting at a high rate. He shared how he felt playing as a Runnin Rebel for the first home opener.
It was amazing, especially for me to just come here with these good group of guys, come together and way to fight through adversity and just can show that we're resilient and we want to do anything that it takes to win. And also just big kudos to giving Coach Kruger his first win here.
Now, this wouldn't be a Rebels win without the major support from Bryce Hamilton. He came through on some clutch baskets at the end of the game, and to top it off, it was his birthday. He shared how much better he plays when his teammates believe in him.
Just staying confident. My teammates give me that confidence every single day. They tell me just keep shooting. And, I put in the work too. So, I trust my work also. And, if it wasn't for my teammates to just keep on giving me that confidence, I couldn't do it without it.
The Runnin Rebels men's basketball team hosted the California Golden Bears Saturday night, looking to keep the momentum going. In a defensive battle throughout the game where the largest lead by either team was 6, after trading baskets throughout the first half, the Golden Bears went on an extended 11-0 run to take a 6-point lead with 9 minutes to go in the second half. The Rebels would get a late surge to reclaim the lead late, and a big-time block by Royce Ham Jr. with under 30 seconds to play kept Cal from taking the lead. After a Cal turnover on the ensuing inbounds play, Rebel newcomer Jordan Maccabee made both of his free throws to make it a 3-point lead, and Cal was not able to score the tying basket, giving the Rebels a 55-52 win, improving their record to 2-0. Here is what Coach Kevin Kruger had to say about the performance.
Really proud of them. A number of opportunities where things could have gone the other way, and it just continued to fight and battle and come together. The timeouts were, it's great as a staff. We see it as the timeouts, they're starting to talk more to each other. And as they continue to do that and take a little more ownership of what's going on, it's just awesome to see. And it's a little more this game than last game. So I'm hoping that continues as much as anything.
The Vegas Golden Knights hosted the Seattle Kraken last week to kick off their 6-game homestand. The Kraken got the goal scoring started with a power play goal by Jordan Eberle less than 5 minutes into the first period. Vegas responded with a goal by Pietrangelo with 26 seconds left in the first. Both teams traded goals in the last minute of the second period and would head to the third, where Vegas took control of the game with 2 goals by Riley Smith 76 seconds into the period. Goaltender Robin Lehner would hold off the late push by the Kraken to give the Knights a 4-2 victory. Here's what head coach Pete DeBoer said about the gutsy performance.
I think we've done it with a defensive foundation. I think the offense has been enough to find us to win games, but our defensive foundation, our goaltending has been really solid.
The Golden Knights won their 3rd game in a row after beating the Vancouver Canucks 7-4 on Saturday.
T-Mobile Saturday night, the Golden Knights had a big comeback win against the Vancouver Canucks. With two early first-period goals from JT Miller and Tanner Pearson, the Vancouver Canucks came off hot, taking a 2-0 lead. The Golden Knights would tie it up, and the two teams would go back and forth until the third period, where Jonathan Marchessault scored his 100th goal as a Golden Knight, giving the Golden Knights a 5-4 lead. After a third-period goal by Riley Smith, the Golden Knights had put the nail in the coffin on Jonathan Marchessault's second goal of the night, making the final score 7-4. Jonathan Marchessault sounded off on what it was like to score his 100th goal as a Golden Knight.
I knew I was close, but I didn't know when was it exactly. And when they said it on the Jumbotron, I didn't understand, so I asked someone on the bench, what did they say, and they just told me. So I'm obviously pretty proud of that.
The Golden Knights look to stay hot as they take on the team with the league's best record, the Carolina Hurricanes. From UNLV Rebel Report, I'm Isaac Palialunga.
Coming up on the Rebel Report, Kyle and Isaac are talking about the Golden Knights and UNLV football in the rundown. If you haven't already, make sure to follow our website for more Rebel Report content. On our website can be found at www.rebelreport.unlv.com. There you will find all of the articles and videos written and produced by our students, as well as exclusive stories you won't find anywhere else.
Welcome to the Rundown. My name is Isaac Palialunga. Joining me today is Kyle Randolph. Kyle, I know you're a big UNLV football fan. How do you feel about these past two wins that we've gotten?
It's been very nice. This team's looking better. Arroyo's finally getting a groove with the defense because the defense was inconsistent. And it's only 2 wins, so it may still be an issue. But 2 games in a row, they've allowed less than 20 points. They allowed 13 against New Mexico. And they did great against Hawaii, too. So the defense is a big part that not a lot of people are talking about, because against Hawaii, Charles Williams, that's our best player. He rushed for over 260 yards. That was insane, and that's what we need to win these games. This is not a knock on Cameron Friel, because he looked great against New Mexico. But I just don't think he's ready yet to be a number 1 for the foreseeable UNLV football future. Next year, I do think they hop back to Brumfield as well. That one's close. I know people always say Arroyo should stick to one guy, and that's been his thing. He's switching on quarterback. But the thing is, I say no matter what happens, play the better player. A lot of people say stick to Friel. He's got the wins. He's a freshman. But I say if Brumfield's better next year, which he's hurt right now, but if he's the better player, play the better player. And that's what I saw. And he did good against New Mexico. But against Hawaii, that's what I saw as well. Even though they did great, he wasn't that confident in throwing the ball above 10, 15 yards with Friel at quarterback. Charles Williams is the main reason they won that Hawaii game. Again, not a knock on Friel, but 2 interceptions, 0 TDs, not the best performance. The defense did good. Williams did amazing. Best game he's probably had. And in order to do that good, you need to be good, and that's exactly what Charles Williams is. Friel, I don't think he's there yet. That's all it is. So I was going to ask you next year, what do you think on that?
I think personally you just have to let them compete. You see this in the NFL all the time where 2 quarterbacks just battle it out for the starting job. And I think Doug Brumfield and I think that Cameron Friel have both had their flashes. I just think that you got to let them compete and, stick with the better guy for next season. But what adjustments do you think that Marcus Arroyo has made? Because we have seen UNLV blow some, pretty big leads. We saw one to Fresno. We saw one to Utah State. What adjustments do you think Marcus Arroyo made to where, UNLV held on and got the win?
I just think the O-line's been performing a lot better to allow Charles Williams to run,
and the defense again, they just gained some consistency. I just think they have chemistry together. So to shift the topic, to stay on Las Vegas sports, the Golden Knights won 8 of their past 10 games. What do you think of this team right now, and how do you think the injured players' returns will impact it?
Yeah, you really got to love what you're seeing from the young guys right now, specifically Dadonov and Jake Lecision. They are really showing that they have what it takes to be NHL players. I think long-term we do need our guys back. Carlson, Pacioretty, we just got Stone back. You need our leaders back for the postseason run because, these young guys, they're playing really well. They're showing they could be really good in the future. But as of right now, we really need to depend on them to win us games, but they're not going to get it done in the postseason. How do you feel about that?
I agree with you 100%. One thing I'm slightly concerned about is chemistry, because when a bunch of injured players return, the lineup's going to change immensely. So that's my only concern, but they're looking great. So thank you, everybody, for watching the rundown. Let's kick it back to the desk for more Rebel Report.
Next up on Rebel Report, Alex will be interviewing former UNLV Runnin Rebel and current radio analyst for UNLV basketball, Curtis Terry.
Hey, Alex, you ready to record the podcast?
Yeah, Barry, I'm ready. Let's get it going.
All right, sounds good. In 3, 2, 1. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Rebel Report podcast for another edition of What They Did Right with Alex Wright. I'm Brandon Steele talking UNLV football. Alex, what did you think of last week's game? Alex? Alex?
My bad, Brandon. I was looking up on Rebel Report's website. They got a ton of new content. VGK, the Raiders, Golden Knights, UNLV football. They got a ton of stuff, new articles that just were published today.
All right, man. Sounds good. No worries. So I guess we'll go ahead and just redo the intro for our podcast. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Rebel Report podcast. I am Brandon Steele alongside Alex Wright for another edition of What They Did Right. How you doing today, Alex? Alex, you good, man? What's going on?
Oh, my bad, Brandon. I just saw they posted the latest episode of Rebel Report. It's up right now on their YouTube page and their Facebook page.
Oh, a new episode's out now?
Yeah.
All right. So we might have to wrap this up and go watch that episode then.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Get caught up on what's happening at UNLV and Las Vegas sports, then get back to our podcast. Make sure it gets posted on the Rebel Report website.
Tired of boring sports talk shows that don't even cover the Las Vegas area? Want a sports show that's available for you at any time? Well, you're in luck because Rebel Report is just for you. The Rebel Report covers all the local sports stories in the Las Vegas area. You can visit their website at rebelreportunlv.com, where you can find all of the student-written and produced stories, shows, interviews, and much more. You can also visit their YouTube channel at Rebel Report UNLV for shows and exclusive interviews. The Rebel Report is the way to go for Las Vegas sports.
Welcome back to Rebel Report. It's time for the interview segment of today's show, and we are joined by a very special guest. We have former Runnin Rebel and current radio analyst for ESPN Las Vegas, Curtis Terry, joining us on the show today. Curtis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Well, definitely enjoy having you, especially because the Runnin Rebels are off to such a great start, off to a 3-0 after winning their first 3 games. So what have been some of the biggest things we've learned about this team through these first 3 games?
Even though the season is still early, I think the biggest thing is that Coach Kevin Kruger and his staff have put together a group of guys that are excited to be Runnin Rebels. I think the last few years in the past, that hasn't been the case necessarily with all the guys on the team, whether it's personal motivation or having goals beyond playing college basketball. But I think this group of guys, a lot of them guys that transferred in, and some guys that are looking to make a name for themselves, and they have the pride to be Runnin Rebels. And I think within that, they built an identity amongst themselves. To where the first 3 games so far, we've seen that they are defensive players. They want to control the tempo defensively, and they're starting to come along offensively. But nonetheless, a 3-0 start is pretty good for Coach in his first 3 games.
One of those transfers that's been making a big impact is Royce Ham Jr.
Yeah.
Leads the conference in rebounds. What's it mean to have him been such an immediate impact to the team? And are you surprised that he's been such a key player so far?
Well, I don't know if I'm surprised. I think a lot of people might be shocked because when Royce, he was previously at University of Texas, and he didn't get a lot of minutes and opportunity, but that's because he was playing behind 5 guys that got drafted in the NBA during the 4 years that he was there.
Yeah.
3 guys were first-round draft picks, 2 guys got drafted in the second round. So I don't think it was really him. I think it was the situation, the opportunity, and he's shown what he can do. I mean, his first game he comes out, I think he had 18 points and 17 rebounds, and then last night in Monday night's game he comes out and he has 17 rebounds, and he does a little bit of everything. He's the emotional leader on the floor. Defensively, he's anchoring them. But I think, again, it starts with him and just his energy and his passion to want to be there, to want to lift the team. And the guys are kind of feeding off that and following suit. And so far, in Royce's first 3 games, I know he's become a fan favorite.
One of the few returners has been Bryce Hamilton, as you mentioned, as the offense is trying to come along. How important is it that Bryce, who's such a gifted scorer, is back on this team and he's contributing so far?
Well, I talk about Royce being kind of the heart and soul of the team. I think the one leading factor and the key cog in this whole thing is Bryce Hamilton. Because when Coach T.J. Otzelberger left and Coach Kevin Kruger was hired, everybody went in the transfer portal, not just here but across the country in college basketball. And it was a matter of, is Coach Kruger going to get one guy to stick by his side, to kind of ride with him, to go to war with him? And he got that in Reese Brown. He got that in Marvin Coleman, the local kid, but also he got that in all Mountain West performer Bryce Hamilton. And for Bryce to be able to come back, and they've got a surefire score to where late in the game, as you saw, the last 2 games really, I mean, late in the game, they throw it to Bryce, and Bryce is able to go get a basket when they need. And to be able to have somebody like that, when you mix in with the talent that they have, you know, we've got an all-conference guy, a guy that can go out and get you 20 at any given moment. But to pair him with some other key guys, which he didn't have in the past, so he had carried a lot of weight on his shoulders, I think it's going to be easier for Bryce to be more effective to do what he does. And again, so far so good for Bryce Hamilton these first 3 games.
You mentioned with Kevin Kruger, you know him very well as playing with him. How have you seen him grow into the role as a head coach, being his first time being a head coach?
Me and Kevin go way back. And I had the privilege to knowing Kevin before we were teammates. I mean, we were kids when his dad was coaching the Atlanta Hawks, and my brother Jason played for the Atlanta Hawks. So I knew Kevin when I was 14 years old. And then had the privilege to play for his dad, Coach Lon Kruger. And then be teammates with Kevin, and then roommates after college. And now we're still good friends. I've got kids. He's got a daughter and another one on the way. But I think the big secret was, when is Kevin going to become a head coach? Everybody knew that he was going to be a head coach, didn't know when it was going to happen. But Kevin has been around it his whole life. I think being on his dad's benches at Florida, at Illinois, he's really kind of just taken the pages out of his dad's playbook, made it his own. And I'm surprised at the success and how quick the team is coming together. But I think it's going to be something that they're going to continue to have success. And Kevin Kruger is going to keep putting his fingerprints all over this program and change it for the good.
Awesome. Well, Curtis, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. If you're not able to make it out to a UNLV basketball game, make sure you're listening to ESPN Las Vegas with Curtis on the call alongside John Sandler and Steve Cofield. Curtis, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Go Rebels, and make sure you come out Saturday, the 27th, against number 2 ranked UCLA. Got to get you in the Thomas and Mack.
Oh, thanks, man.
No problem, man. Are you interested in sports?
Yeah, man. How'd you know?
Well, obviously you're shooting hoops. Did you know that Rebel Report covers basketball?
What's Rebel Report?
Well, Rebel Report is a student-run organization that covers all sports. So, like, we cover football. And we also cover volleyball. We also cover hockey and many other sports.
Wow, that's a lot of sports.
Well, now that you know, you could check out Rebel Report for all your sports content.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll check it out. What am I gonna do with all this?
Where are you getting that from?
What, the song?
Yeah, you've been humming it all day. It's the UNLV fight song and the Rebel Report theme song for last year.
Rebel Report? What's that? You don't know what the Rebel Report is?
Nope.
It's a student-run program all about Las Vegas sports. It goes from UNLV sports to the Knights, Raiders, Aces, and more.
Really? Does it go over a little bit of other stuff too?
Yeah, everything to do with Las Vegas and sports in general.
I love Vegas. That sounds perfect for me.
Yeah, let's put it on.
Awesome. Let's go. Everyone's humming it. I mean, it is pretty catchy.
UNLV running back Charles Williams has been named the Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week. Williams led the Rebels to a 27-13 win over Hawaii by finishing with 266 net yards rushing, which is tied for second most in school history. He scored all 3 of UNLV's touchdowns against Hawaii, including a 47-yard scamper with under 2 minutes remaining to seal the Rebels' victory.
Las Vegas Big League Weekend is back in 2022. The Las Vegas Aviators announced that there will be 2 spring training games, March 12th and 13th at the Las Vegas ballpark. The games will be between the Cleveland Guardians and the Oakland A's.
That will do it for this episode of the Rebel Report.
Thanks for tuning in and have a good weekend.